Calcium is a mineral that has been shown in many studies to be important for our bones. But how does it actually help build strong bones? That's what we'll be talking about in this video. Hi, I'm here. Let's dive in. Why is calcium good for your bones? Well, there are 5 key reasons why calcium is such an important nutrient for bone health. The first reason is that calcium is one of the building blocks of your bones. The basic structure of your bone is made up of calcium and phosphorus combined in a crystalline form known as hydroxyapatite. This forms a lattice that provides strength and rigidity to the bone. Hydroxyapatite crystals are formed when calcium and phosphorus combine in a chemical reaction within the bone tissue. These crystals are highly ordered and form a hexagonal crystal structure. They are responsible for approximately 60% of the dry weight of the bone and provide the bone with its compressive strength. The hydroxyapatite crystals are also important for bone elasticity and help to resist bending and twisting forces. Bone is a living tissue that is constantly being remodeled, and hydroxyapatite crystals play an important role in this process. The crystals are synthesized by specialized cells called osteoblasts and are deposited into the bone matrix. The process of crystal formation is tightly regulated, and any disruption to this process can lead to bone disease. For example, in osteoporosis, the balance between bone formation and resorption is tipped in favor of resorption, and this leads to a decrease in bone mass and an increase in the risk of fractures. The second reason is that calcium helps to build and maintain bone density. Bone density refers to the amount of calcium and other minerals present in a given volume of bone tissue. It's an important measure of bone health because bones with low density are more likely to fracture. Calcium is essential for building and maintaining bone density throughout life. From the time we are born, our bones are constantly growing and changing as we age. During childhood and adolescence, our bones grow rapidly, and this requires a lot of calcium. As we reach peak bone mass, our bones become more dense and less prone to fractures. However, after this point, our bones begin to lose density, and this process accelerates after menopause in women due to a decrease in estrogen levels. This loss of bone density increases the risk of fractures, and this condition is known as osteoporosis. Calcium is also important for maintaining bone density in adulthood. As we age, our bones continue to lose density, and calcium is essential for maintaining the strength and integrity of our bone tissue. By ensuring that we get enough calcium in our diet, we can help to maintain bone density and reduce the risk of fractures. The third reason is that calcium is involved in the bone remodeling process. Bone remodeling is a continuous process where old or damaged bone tissue is replaced with new bone tissue. This process is essential for maintaining bone health and strength. Calcium plays an important role in this process by providing the raw material for the formation of new bone tissue. When bone is being remodeled, specialized cells called osteoblasts synthesize new bone matrix and deposit it onto the surface of the bone. This process requires a lot of calcium, which is used to form the hydroxyapatite crystals that give bone its strength. Calcium also plays a role in the regulation of bone remodeling. The balance between bone formation and resorption is tightly regulated, and any disruption to this process can lead to bone disease. For example, in osteoporosis, the balance is tipped in favor of resorption, and this leads to a decrease in bone mass and an increase in the risk of fractures. Calcium is also important for the communication between bone cells. Osteoblasts and other bone cells, such as osteoclasts and osteocytes, communicate with each other through chemical signals, and calcium is involved in this process. The fourth reason is that calcium is involved in cellular communication. Cellular communication is essential for the proper functioning of bone tissue. Cells in the bone need to be able to communicate with each other in order to coordinate their activities and ensure that bone is formed and maintained properly. Calcium plays an important role in this process by acting as a messenger molecule. When cells communicate with each other, they often use chemical signals to do so. These chemical signals bind to receptors on the surface of the receiving cell, and this binding triggers a response in the cell. Calcium is often used as a second messenger in this process. When a chemical signal binds to a receptor on the surface of a cell, it can cause the release of calcium from internal stores within the cell. This increase in intracellular calcium can then trigger a variety of cellular responses, including changes in gene expression, protein synthesis, and enzyme activity. In bone cells, this process is important for regulating bone formation and resorption. For example, when osteoblasts receive signals from other bone cells, they may increase their activity and produce more bone matrix. The fifth reason is that calcium works together with vitamin D to help build strong bones. Vitamin D is a fat-soluble vitamin that plays an important role in bone health. It's actually a hormone that is produced in the skin when it's exposed to sunlight. Vitamin D is essential for the proper absorption of calcium from the intestine. Without sufficient vitamin D levels, the body cannot absorb calcium properly, and this can lead to bone disorders such as rickets in children and osteomalacia in adults. Vitamin D also helps to regulate the balance of calcium in the body. It does this by working with other hormones such as parathyroid hormone and calcitonin to control the amount of calcium released from the bones and the kidneys. Vitamin D and calcium have a synergistic relationship. Vitamin D enhances the absorption of calcium from the intestine, which means that even small amounts of calcium can be absorbed effectively. This is important for maintaining adequate calcium levels in the body and ensuring proper bone health. So these are the 5 key reasons why calcium is so important for building strong bones. Now let's take a look at how much calcium you need each day. The amount of calcium that a person needs each day depends on their age and sex. For adults, the recommended daily intake of calcium is 1,000 to 1,200 mg. This can vary depending on individual factors such as age, sex, and overall health. However, it's generally recommended that adults consume around 1,000 mg of calcium per day to maintain good bone health. Getting enough calcium in your diet is important for building strong bones and preventing bone diseases such as osteoporosis. Good sources of calcium include dairy products such as milk, yogurt, and cheese, as well as leafy green vegetables, fortified foods such as orange juice and soy milk. I hope this was helpful. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments below. Be sure to like and subscribe if you want to learn more about nutrition. Until next time, I wish you all the best in your health and wellness journey. Take care.